All right, we're gonna hide that. Go to here, make that big. Hide me right up top. I'm gonna read a story about Marco Polo, the million stories of Marco Polo. Marco Polo was a traveler during the age of exploration. It's kind of iffy as to whether or not he went to everywhere he claims he did. But this is about Marco Polo. I like the colors of this book so far already. I'm so lucky to live here in Venice. I can walk down my own street to visit a scribe who's copied Marco Polo's stories into a book, like the tale about the elephant that brought the world's tallest trees to Kublai Khan's palace. Oh, I am but one scribe, child, and you are but one listener. True, you are the one who's most captivated, and the stories of Marco Polo travel far, far beyond our city. Does everyone believe them? My father doesn't. He says trees cannot ride elephants for weeks. Yet in the Green Palace, where the emperor spent his summers, Marco witnessed trees of every green shade, forever in leaf. Did they appear by magic or by elephant? How would an elephant transport trees? Maybe just like this picture. Whoa, I wonder. I'm excited to learn. Elephant still, some cities Marco Polo visited for the emperor do sound magical. Maybe you exaggerate when you tell me the stories. Maybe you added your words when you copied the book. No, my favorite, most curious visitor. What I lettered on each page was exactly what Rustichelio wrote as he listened to Polo's stories with the other prisoners. I'm starting to pick up that this book is a conversation between maybe a father and son, and that Marco Polo was writing this as he was in jail. But how could Polo have remembered 17 years worth of stories before he returned to Venice? He couldn't. Maybe Marco Polo forgot a million other stories. Perhaps. But some sights were surely burned into his memories. Some stories he could never forget. In Greater Herminia, Polo witnessed fountains of black oil spewing from the ground. Unlike other familiar edible oil of olives, this oil burned, delivering heat and light. How could you forget such a sight? Now, Greater Herminia is modern day Armenia, and that would be Mount Ararat. I would remember that. What's another Polo story he wouldn't forget? In the port of Hormuz, scorching breezes rage so hot that people run to the countryside to escape them. To keep these so called flame winds from baking their skins, they leap into nearby streams with just their noses poking above the water. Like an elephant bathing? Was that where Polo saw more elephants? Now, Hormuz is in Istanbul. So that would be maybe Aga Sophia that we're looking at here. Istanbul is one of my favorite cities. I like to go there every few years. I've been there about 4 times now, and I love it. Really good spices, and it smells delicious there. If you were Polo, instead of silks and jewels, you'd seek out stories of elephants. But what about the stories you didn't sink? What about Kamindi and its high walls built on earth and fear? About the sorcery that shrouds daytime in darkness, and 1,000 bandits can ride unseen into the city, and no one escapes the plundering? Kamindi is not fascinating enough. There's arrows in the wall. Daytime, darkness, that's a dream or a lie. A made up story for sure. And there can be a million stories. Even if every day brought a new one and Polo's travels spanned 100 years, how can you know if they're true? I can't know, but I can believe. Believing makes things true. Now come another time and let me do my copying today. Although this book hardly fascinates like Polo's, I must do my work. It's me again. I need you to help remember another story exactly. Oh, but my recalling could be wrong. Memory's a bucket that has a hole even when it seems full. Let's test your memory. Where did Polo see disappearing bridges? Badakhshan. There, houses perch on mountains like falcons on treetops, and only one king may lead the precious lapis lazuli of his mine. What about the bridges? Ah, yeah. After a few steps onto the bridge, only mist and fogs and the promise of nowhere welcomed Polo. The way ahead had vanished. You're becoming a storyteller, too. The bridge must be so long that it disappears into all the mist on the mountain. Maybe Bridges vanished because his eyes were so tired from travel. Yes, tired of the treacherous rocks, weary of the brutal weather. Polo found no house, no food, no bird that dared fly at the snow capped roof of the world. Centuries of camels had trampled these mountain paths into crumbs, and the winds blustered so bitterly no fires could burn. If I were Polo, I'd have closed my eyes and missed everything. I love these colors. However, in the province of darkness, eyes are of no help. Sun, moon, stars, not one shines. The people live as hunters in ever twilight, beset by marauders who raid their dwellings of fox and sable furs. If it's that dark, how do they ever find their way out? The clever Tatars ride mares whose fowls bring and secure at the border. When they've obtained their plunder, the robbers drop the reins, and the mares eagerly find their way back to the young and to the light. Ooh, so they're tying the horse's babies up, and then they ride the horse away. And when they put all the stuff onto the horse and they let the horse wants to go back to the baby because it remembers where the baby is. That's a really smart idea. It's kind of mean, but the horses really don't think it's smart. But that's an interesting idea. Why are there so many cities of darkness and light? One story just reminds me of another as I recall them for you. At the White Feast, it's not dark, it's only white for luck. A parade of 100,000 white horses and 5,000 elephants, costumed in white, all carry furniture and dishes delicate for the emperor's new celebration. The whole kingdom? From where did that white cloth come? And from all the horses. Were there black horses and tan horses too? Somewhere else? Did Kublai Khan own so many of everything? Okay, you're going to notice that my mask is back on. I've got my students back inside being super duper helpful, and they're going to be very quiet as I finish this story with us. Try imagining the Emperor's hunt, an all red battalion, 10,000 men and 5,000 mastiffs marches right. An equal battalion in blue marches left. Each captures 1,000 beasts each day. To the ocean, he brings 500 falcons, 20,000 men to collect the prey. And always, Kublai Khan rides in his chamber of tiger skins and barren gold atop 4 elephants. Yes, more stories about his elephants. So a mastiff is these big old dogs here. A mastiff dog weighs about 120 pounds, which is around the average weight of a fourth and fifth grader. Here we have a bunch of elephants with this sort of tiger skin box. I wonder if that's where Kublai Khan is living. Enough elephants, dear child. Even greater are the houses of Kambulak. They surpass the impossible. Every gate opens to another city, even more people on the other side. That is no city, it must be a legend. Yet it exists, an never ending marketplace, a pageant of merchants and travelers, buying, selling, and bartering. Each day, 1,000 cartloads of silk enter into the city. Wonder if I can see any cartloads. There might be one. Imagine visiting our Venice for the first time. Our streets are paved with seawater. Our citizens travel by boats. Those you told of our city, wouldn't they call it a legend, a lie? But I wouldn't be lying. Was Polo line of Soju, built on a sea crowded with a mountain, a maze of 6,000 bridges, tall enough for ships to pass beneath, unite its sprawling population? Pick another of the million stories. I want to hear more. You are like the emperor. His ears wanted to feast on Polo's words forever, but forever was too long for Polo. So more stories? Yes, more stories, yours. Every question begins a voyage. You can be Marco Polo now. That was a good book. I really liked the art. I wonder if this person's created more. I'd like to read more of them.